It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Wow Wednesday, and we started off with our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment, and we talked about the unfortunate news of the 1-year-old little girl who was pretty much beat to death by her mother's 19-year-old boyfriend. And it's an update from another story a wow story actually, that Vivian did a couple weeks ago. And unfortunately, the 1-year-old lost her life. Yeah, it was a little too much. The results was, from the beating, that she had to get part of her skull removed. So unfortunately, she did not make it. But the boyfriend, the mama's boyfriend. Yeah, he's going to face new charges, including homicide. Yes. So, we talked about yet again the mom who allowed, her, she set the whole thing up, for her boyfriend to be there. And, we're talking about just the unfortunate decision that she made. I'm sure that was not her thought, that she had not anticipated that. However, we got to these days, we have to be open to the possibilities of these things happening. So again, we are so hoping for the 150th time that, these moms learn from these mistakes. What a mistake to make, to learn from. But somebody's mistake hopefully is someone's lesson. New York City children, 350,000 children are going to be receiving brand new Chromebooks from the city of New York, thanks to our Mayor Adams and his initiative with T-Mobile. Yes, I believe it's T-Mobile. It is T-Mobile that will take some of their arrangement, and whatever the kickbacks are, the kids will get the Chromebooks. Yes, from K all the way through 12 until the time that they graduate. So that means that they'll be keeping it at night and over the summertime, it sounds like. And, the ladies had their thoughts. Are we giving, Chromebooks away too early to kindergartners? Should we have started that, a little later, where they would be more prone to taking care of a device like that? It just crossed my mind. What if the parents or older siblings use these devices? Can't help it. You can put it in the homes now. Oh, well, anything is subject to happen. And, the ladies had some thoughts. One of the thoughts was that, this will definitely put libraries in the extinct column, because children won't be going to the libraries anymore. And now they're looking, to try to find reasons or ways to utilize the library, because we're not using libraries as much anymore, especially since the pandemic. And it's like hands off, from tangible things that are being shared. So, that was just one of the thoughts. And, they thought that maybe there could be something done differently with the money. There's a lot of money put into that. And could there be some other things that this money could have benefited, ways that it could have benefited the children? I'm sure that there are. Personally, I couldn't think of any. I know that there are some other areas where children are lacking. And, it seems like you can't get anything done right. People are always going to complain. People are always going to suggest that you can do things differently than what you're doing. Woo woo, poor Mayor Adams. And I don't know. Maybe we can. Maybe we can do something different with the money. But listen, it's spent now. The initiative is there now. So, big ups to him. One of the other thoughts was, are we doing this because this is an election year? Yeah, now you're going to think about all the kiddies and things like that. So I don't know. My thought is, hey, people are always going to say something negative about what you do. Is it good? I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying, people can always think of things to do other than what you're doing. All right. And Rikers Island and ICE, shall they meet on one location? No. The judge has said nope. Something just ain't smelling right with this situation. And yeah, we agreed. We definitely said from the very beginning that this will not be a good marriage. And you've got some power struggles that could possibly go on. You've got some misplacement of possibly some inmates. You've got some misplacement of deportees with inmates. Yeah, this is, human mix-ups will be way higher. Shati says we will be doing a new socially conscious segment. We will get a new one from Vivian, based on that goof. So thank goodness no. And boy, the kicker of the morning, the wow story of the morning was about the 4-year-old in daycare, if you will, and was bit by a copperhead venomous snake, and not one staff member called 911 opposed to just calling mama. Nobody, after realizing that it could have been a snake that bit this child, even took the child to the emergency room. Nothing. Told mom when she got there that they did find a snake out in the sandbox. And, thanks to Vivian, who works with the little people, she did run through some of the protocol, that they should have followed based on what happened to prevent these things from happening. And boy, I'm waiting to hear an update from Vivian and our socially conscious segment that says they're suing. Because, baby, this is lawsuit era. And there is no way somebody like that is going to be so negligent. An agency like that will be so negligent and people aren't coming after them. So, listen, this is not going to go well. Mama didn't say anything initially as of this report, but I promise you, somebody whispering in her ear if she's not even thinking about it. This is not going to be one of them cases where people say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just glad to be alive. No, that ain't happening. We say they should go to jail. They should be shut down. They don't deserve to run a daycare. If you don't have enough common sense to think to make that kind of move on a child's behalf, just in case this was some fatal blow, or no, it was definitely emergent. And you didn't call emergency? No, bye. As they would say, boy, bye, girl, bye. No, they definitely need to be out of commission, not servicing anybody's child. So That's how we spent our Wild Wednesday. Well, it's Therapeutic Thursday, and we got a morning. We got some stuff to talk about. I've got a segment that I'm kind of resurrecting. Yeah, that I'm resurrecting. And we're going to see, what you think. I would love to know what you think. It's going to be some kind of Therapeutic Thursday. We don't know what the Due Time crew is going to come up with this morning because we got some situations to talk about. Well, listen, it's time to get this party started. Go ahead and get your healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, that it's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
Time you use GPS, you're relying on a black woman from a Virginia farm who thought she was just doing math homework. Gladys West spent 42 years calculating the exact shape of planet Earth using an IBM computer the size of an entire room. While you were learning addition, she was programming complex algorithms to account for gravity, tides, and forces that literally bend our planet out of shape. This wasn't some side project. The Department of Defense commissioned her to solve the most challenging mathematical puzzle of the century. How do you precisely map a spinning, wobbling, gravitationally warped sphere hurtling through space? For decades, West fed satellite data into massive computers, creating the mathematical foundation that makes every GPS system on Earth possible. Born into a sharecropping family in 1930, she was one of only 4 black employees at the Naval Proving Ground. The woman who enabled Google Maps, Uber, military navigation systems, and your smartphone's location services was doing groundbreaking work while fighting Jim Crow segregation. In 2018, she was finally inducted into the Air Force Space and Missile Pioneers Hall of Fame. That GPS on your phone directing you to the nearest coffee shop? Thank Dr. Gladys West, the hidden figure who taught computers to understand the true shape of our world.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Therapeutic Thursday. Yep, the day we talk about our health, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, financial, spiritual, anything that has to do with our health, we talk about it. And the Due Time crew, we talk about it in a very special way. And I can't wait to get started with some of this conversation. Well, let's say good morning. We got to do that first to all of my loyal viewers out there. If you're in the room, make sure you let me know, because other than that, I don't know you're here, and I definitely want to salute you. Good morning, Terrence. Listen, Terrence was on like 10:45. Yeah, he was up. He was up early eating his Wheaties. So Terrence probably got a whole lot to talk about this morning, whole lot of responses. So hey, Terrence, let's get going. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got our girl, Ketty, who was probably making her coffee while Terrence was clocking in to his due time. Yeah. Good morning, Ketty. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us today. We got our boy, Serge. in the room. Good morning, Serge. Good morning. How are you? I told you, Terrence already. Before we can even get started, he already talking. Number one thing is that the kids is lacking knowledge. Yep. Big time. I don't know if they're going to get anything from these Chromebooks, but yeah, they got to learn some things. All right. We got a check-in from our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice, good morning, and good morning again. Hope to be talking to you in a couple of minutes. We've got our girl Cherry in the room. Good morning, Cherry. Always good to see you. Check in. Thank you so much for joining us. We got our girl Teresa. Hey, Teresa. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Well, and we can't go any further without saying good morning to the ladies who help us hold it down. Our girl Anika is in the cut, filling in, for Shantice this morning. She had to take care of some business, and we are so grateful to her for being here. Hey, Anika, thank you so much. Listen, Terrence has already said that he want to take a look at this techie who's behind the scenes. So as soon as you get that opportunity, let me know, and I will definitely give you an opportunity to show that beautiful face. All right. Thank you so much. So we got our health tip, considering that today is Therapeutic Thursday, and we're talking about the foods that help to protect you from cancer. Now, I don't know if any of you noticed this, but cancer has definitely, oh my gosh, all you hear about now is cancer. Yeah. So if we can do anything to help with getting this cancer away from us, keeping it away from us, let's get this done. Big time. So the first thing on this list are berries. Always. Berries are on the list for all the good stuff. So they say bursting with antioxidants. Berries such as blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries are excellent choices for cancer prevention. Yeah. So they say antioxidants help neutralize harmful free radicals in the body, reducing the risk of cell damage and DNA mutations. And I don't know if you've noticed, but years ago, all we really heard of was lung cancer, breast cancer, and then we had the cervical cancer, prostate. Now everywhere. One of the, I think Tony brother, he died of bladder cancer. You're hearing all of these different cancers. So when you talk about helping to, rid our cut down the risk of cell damage and DNA mutations, we got work to do in our eating. All right. Cruciferous vegetables is next on this list. That includes your broccoli, your cauliflower, your cabbage, and your kale. Yes, just the string beans won't get it done. Okay. They say research shows that these cruciferous vegetables contain compounds which have been shown to have anti-cancer properties. So grab up that broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale. Yeah, stop saying you don't like cauliflower. Did you just hear that it helps to beat cancer? I say hold your nose and swallow it whole if you got to. Listen, we got to do what we got to do to make sure we rid our bodies of as many impurities as possible. Olive oil is next on this list. We're talking about fighting cancer this morning. Olive oil. I hope y'all are taking notes. I really do. We'll talk about a list. This is a list to have. Olive oil is on this list. They say rich in monosaturated fats and antioxidants, making it a powerhouse for reducing inflammation, and it plays a role in supporting cell repair and overall wellness. All right. So they're saying whether you're cooking with it, dressing your veggies with it, your salads or whatever, make sure you get your olive oil in. Now, I make this new, it's not kind of new, but I remember when my grandmother used to make it, she didn't use olive oil because back then olive oil wasn't the thing. But I have this creamy, I use it for like a salad dressing. And it's mayonnaise, vegan mayonnaise, because I can't have the eggs, and olive oil with a little like, what do you call the thing? Seasoned salt, a little seasoned salt, and some pepper. I put a little garlic in it, and yeah, it is so good. Even sometimes I'll take and put a little what do you call it? Sour cream. But I've been, for the last couple of days, I've been using it just the mayo, and I eat it with my tuna fish. All my cucumbers. You can eat it on lettuce, tomatoes, like your whole salad thing. Yes. So try it. There's your olive oil. That's why I was telling you another use for olive oil. Okay. Whole grains is on this list. Whole grains, rich in fiber and various nutrients, promote a healthy digestive system, and it will reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. This is not the first time we've done this kind of a list, so please make sure you keep these lists every so often. We kind of go through this stuff again, and I saw it just appear a little bit different, so I don't know if they added some stuff, so let's get this done. I see some comments coming through. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Terrence says, Anika, we're waiting. That's what Terrence says. Not me. That's Terrence. It's him. He's making that heavy request. He wants to see who's keeping his favorite, talk show running. All right. Terrence says we will never get rid of cancer due to the government putting all this stuff in our food. And you know what, Terrence? You may be right, but go back to last week. Was it last week? I think it was last week, Monday. I was only on one day last week. But last week, Monday, I believe, I gave a list of foods you can grow in your home. So that cuts out at least the veggies. Okay, so you might be right, but there's a way. Anika says, very true at Terrence, and they are destroying the government agencies that would regulate the food industry. Absolutely. We got to check in from our girl, Tamika. Hey, Tamika, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm looking forward to talking to you in a couple of minutes. And girl V is in the house. Hey, Vivian, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Another one. We're going to be talking in a couple minutes. Let's get back to this list of foods that are fighting cancer. Let's see. Leafy greens. Yes. We're talking about our spinach. Again, kale, Swiss chard. Those contain essential nutrients, including vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. The high fiber content aids digestion and promotes a healthy gut, which it's crucial to cancer prevention. Okay. So they say that leafy greens is attributed to their power to fight against cancer. And this is the Mayo Clinic. They're pushing leafy greens. All right. What else is always on the list, no matter what we talk about when it's good? Beans and lentils. Yes. Always, beans and lentils are always on that list. They're packed with fiber, plant-based protein, and essential nutrients. Great for digestion and will help you maintain a healthy gut, which plays a key role in overall health. Those high antioxidant foods contain the body's defense against harmful cells, making them a simple and affordable way to fight cancer. And add them to your diet. Yeah, beans are more expensive than they used to be, but listen, beans go a long way. So let's talk about this thing here. We've been eating a lot of black beans. I love what's the little round ones? Why can't I think of it? I can see it in my face now. It's probably up in this picture. Oh my goodness. Chickpeas. There we go. Chickpeas. Yes. Your hummus, chickpeas. You can eat chickpeas, roast them. We had a mean sweet potato and chickpea salad at the conference. And I threw some kale in there. Oh, there you go right there. There was kale, sweet potatoes, and chickpeas, and it was smoking. I got to tell you, it was so good. I loved it. And it went in the oven. So you didn't fry it. I had a little olive oil on it. Oh, there you go. 4 things. Fighting cancer with one recipe. So it was sweet potatoes. Well, I don't know. Sweet potatoes ain't on this list yet, but just might be. But you got your chickpeas. Got to get in the camera. Chickpeas. We've got our olive oil. We've got our kale right there. There you go, right there. All right. Boy, y'all are pretty chatty this morning. What y'all got going on here? Let me see what's being said. Okay. Thank you, Tamika. Chickpeas always got my back. Lentils are good. Yes. A good lentil soup. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes. Terrence says, have you ever noticed that the government always says that all the things for cancer will suppress it or help with it and never gets rid of it? Wonder why? Because they want the money. Listen, as long as they don't take all this stuff off the market, Terrence, we good. Don't worry about it. Give them the money. Pay for the beans. Make it happen. Don't even worry about it. My brother. Mushrooms is next on this list. Talk about fighting cancer. All right. Rich in bioactive compounds. Mushrooms are gaining attention for their cancer protective potential. And some natural compounds help boost the immune system and fight oxidative stress. All right, so we've got several types of mushrooms have been linked to reducing risk of breast and prostate cancer. Yeah. All right, so now they also say that mushrooms also contain selenium, which support DNA repair and help slow the growth of cancer cells. All righty. Seaweed. Somebody I saw had some seaweed chips, something like that. Listen, if you've eaten seaweed chips, put it in the chat room. Maybe we need to start eating that. Help us. All right. Packed with iodine, fiber, and unique antioxidants. Seaweed has long been praised for traditional diets and its healthy benefits. All right. So they say that they have compounds that promise anti-tumor properties. Wow. They say seaweed may help reduce the risk of hormone-related cancers, especially breast and colon cancer. Wow. It supports gut health, which plays a key role in immunity and cancer defense. Wow. Guess what else is on this list? Pomegranates. Wow. Did we talk about pomegranate juice? Here we go. All right. loaded with compounds. Listen, I have to do this Monday. I have to remember to do the great benefits of pomegranate juice. They have powerful anti-inflammatory fruits. Well, it is a powerful anti-inflammatory fruit that helps to slow cancer cell growth and reduce oxidative stress. These compounds also assist in blocking enzymes that may contribute to tumor development. Wow. Studies have shown that pomegranate juice, there we go, may especially be helpful in reducing the risk of prostate and breast cancer. Wow. Okay. Turmeric. Almost every day I'm having turmeric. Only thing about turmeric, it's so healthy, but it stains everything. Yes, you gotta immediately wash it out. But as always, vinegar is the key. Yep. God had to have made vinegar and baking soda. I don't care what you need, vinegar and baking soda, get it done. So turmeric is on this list for fighting cancer. The vibrant yellow spice, they say, have the compounds that promote anti-inflammatory and oxidant properties, and it will help prevent and reduce the growth of tumors. So definitely put that turmeric in your food. Next thing on that list, guess what, y'all? Green tea. Every day I get my green tea in. Get your green tea in. All right. They say green tea contains various antioxidants. Another powerhouse. Green tea is another powerhouse. They say that it will inhibit the growth of cancer cells and reduce the risk of several types of cancer, including breast, prostate, and colorectal cancer. And get that green tea. Let me tell you something. Like olive oil, green tea is crazy. You can put green tea in anything. Yep. And I mean anything. Anything I make that has like water, because I drink water like crazy, so I don't have to worry about it. But I make it green tea. So if I'm using like a water base for my smoothie, I make green tea, let it cool, and that's what I use. I try to infuse green tea into everything. Turmeric. I started seasoning with turmeric, and again, it stains everything. And I bought a pot specifically for turmeric stuff. Yeah, because I get tired of seeing all the yellow all over the place. I mean, for something so powerful, it's so stainy. So these are ways you can just incorporate all of this stuff. This chat room is going crazy this morning. Wow, what y'all talking about here? I don't want to miss the conversation. All right. Thank you, Serge and Vivian. Okay. Seaweed is delicious. Serge says that he and Vivian eat seaweed chips. So we got to try the seaweed chips, y'all. Seaweed chips, cancer fighting. So let's see if they're good, like Serge and Vivian say. All right. Thank y'all. I know I saw somebody eating some seaweed chips. All right. Anika said I had some seaweed last night. Very good snack, dried chips. All right. We're getting it. Whoa. Y'all are on it this morning. Oh, Anika said she's still drinking her pomegranate juice. All right. Go ahead, Anika. Shanti says, I was just saying that I want to get back to drinking pomegranate juice. Great for hair growth. Yep. What else is going on? I put green tea in my shampoo too. Wow. A nigga said, that's Shanti's. And the nigga says, green tea is my staple. So listen, we should have a bunch of cancer fighting people on this show. Yeah. Because y'all done came up with some stuff. All right. Let's see what else is on our list. Garlic. All right. They say garlic has tons of anti-cancer properties, and it contains sulfur compounds that help stimulate the body's immune system, and it may inhibit the growth of cancer cells. All right. Get that garlic. Get the garlic. You know what you can do instead of cutting up the garlic? Mince garlic. Now, I got about 100 jars of minced garlic in my house, and I can't find one jar. Every time I buy it, it kind of gets buried. But listen, it's a wonderful base for your food. Yeah, when you're doing like onions and peppers, throw a little bit, like a tablespoon of that minced garlic up in there. There's your garlic. We use tons of garlic powder. There's your garlic. You can sprinkle garlic on just a little bit on your salads. Yeah, there's so many ways to incorporate these things. Tomatoes, there you go. Remember I talked about the salad with the mayo and olive oil? There you go. There you go. All right. Rich in powerful antioxidants, tomatoes are beneficial in reducing the risk of prostate cancer. All right. So definitely get those tomatoes. They say that tomatoes help protect cells from damage and may impede cancer development. All right. Wow. They say when you process your tomatoes into your sauce, hey, throw a little bit of oil and it will help absorb. Some people are kind of sensitive to the acid in tomatoes. So they're giving a little hint. And again, they're telling you to use olive oil, which is right up in there. Right up in there. Nuts and seeds. Always another one that's on the list when we're talking about some great things to eat. Almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds. We are the chia seed eating. I love chia pudding. I love chia pudding. And guess what I put in my chia pudding? Walnuts. Yeah, always. Walnuts and dates. I love it. I love the crunch. Definitely filled with healthy fats and essential nutrients such as vitamin E and magnesium. Nuts and seeds provide a wide range of antioxidants which can help prevent cell damage and inflammation associated with cancer. And get them nuts and seeds up in your system. Citrus fruits, your lemons, your oranges, and grapefruits are great examples of vitamin C and other antioxidants that play a crucial role in your body's defense against harmful free radicals and help support the immune system. And they say vitamin C has the potential to act as a therapeutic agent against some types of cancers. Wow. Get that citrus fruit in you. Also, just a friendly reminder, certain medicines collide with grapefruit. So you want to check, okay? So, boy, we got some great stuff. So let's go over this again. Y'all are really into this today. Berries, cruciferous vegetables such as your broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and kale, olive oil, whole grains, leafy greens. There's your kale, your spinach, and your Swiss chard, beans and lentils, mushrooms, seaweed, pomegranates, turmeric, green tea, garlic, tomatoes, nuts and seeds, citrus fruits. All right. So all of those things help prevent cancer. All righty. So grab them. What's the last little bit of this conversation here? Let's see. Anika says they say also fresh garlic is the best. Yes, that's why I talked about the minced garlic, because minced garlic is nothing but fresh garlic. And I know Anika's talking about fresh garlic, the round little bulbs. But if you can't get your hands on fresh garlic, keep the jar around. That's fresh garlic, kind of fermented. All right, sitting in that juice. So, and use the juice. Yeah, use the juice. All right. And Ketty says, I use garlic in everything. Yep, she sure does. And Tamika says, I do too, Ketty. I do all of these except mushrooms. Actually, I do all of those things. Yeah, I'm with you, Tamika. But I do the mushrooms. Yes. So we got a powerful, powerful, powerful list here. All right. What are we talking about in the news today? We got some stuff. Anika must be saying that she does. She must be saying, the nigga says she can't get past the mushroom or fungus. Yeah, but it's powerful. Mushrooms are powerful, is a powerful food. Yeah, another powerful food. So that fungus must be doing something. All righty. All right, what are we talking about in our news today? I want to... Yo, we got to talk about this. We have got to talk about this. Because I don't understand. People make something out of nothing all the time. So Starbucks workers, they are suing because there's a new dress code. And in, I think it's California, there's a law. I'll come back to the law. I'm going to come back to the law. Let me talk about what's going on here now. So Starbucks has decided to change their dress code. Now, it's not a bad change, but I will tell you what they had grown to. So at one point, they used to be able to wear a, what do you call it? Plaid shirt. They were able to wear a plaid shirt. And they decided, I want to make sure. Okay. So they were able to wear Crocs. They were able to wear a plaid shirt. And they have changed it to, you ready? Solid black shirt. It could be long or short sleeve. And they have a green apron on. The shirts must have, but can't have a collar. But they have to cover the midriff, I guess, because the apron is low. So the black shirt it can either be short sleeve or long sleeve. And it has to cover the midriff and the armpits. So in other words, sometimes you wear, women, or men, but mostly women will wear low cut on the side. Can't do that. All right. They must wear black, khaki, or blue denims without any patterns. They can't be frayed. And they say that ladies can wear black dresses or skirts, but they cannot be 4 inches above the knee. You have to also wear, let me rephrase that, black, gray, dark blue, brown, tan, or white shoes. Let me go over that again. Black, gray, dark blue, brown, tan, or white shoes. Okay. And they must be waterproof. So Shantice, I think they used to call them slip freeze. Is that the same thing as slip free, Shanties? All right. And they say socks and hosiery must be subdued. So I guess you can't be wearing, all that crazy, those, sometimes they'll wear those crazy socks, or I guess like a fishnet hosiery. All right. We got to check in from Mr. Fred. Come on in, Mr. Fred. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. In addition to that, you can't have any face tattoos or more than one facial piercing. Tongue piercings and theatrical makeup are prohibited. Now, I have yet to hear anything that sounds crazy. Black shirt, short or long sleeve, has to cover your midriff and your armpits. You can wear khaki, black, or blue denim. So you can even come up in there with your jeans, as long as they're not frayed, they don't have those holes in them, they don't have any patterns on them. You can wear black, gray, dark blue, tan, brown, or white. 6 options for your shoe gear. Why in the world? Because California has a mandate that if you change the dress code policy and it requires people to purchase, you must reimburse them. So Starbucks did not reimburse anybody. Why would you need to? I just allowed you to pretty much wear anything you want to wear. And you want reimbursement. They have unionized. Starbucks employees have been unionized, not since now, but period. And they are now with this class action lawsuit. Now, one of the young ladies says she's angry because she cannot wear her Crocs anymore. So it requires her to go buy shoes. And for her to go buy different shoes, she went and bought some $60.09 shoes. Let me go over this again. Black, gray, navy blue, tan, brown, or white. That don't cost you no $60.09 necessarily. Let me tell you something. If you shop with Pastor Steph, you could probably get 3-4 pairs of shoes that are black, gray, navy blue, tan, brown, and white. I could probably get 4-5 of those, and I could switch them up every day. So she says she went and bought some different shoes. So she wants reimbursement. Another one said they spent $86.95 on clothes for work, including black shirts and jeans. You know good and well, if you were buying them jeans for yourself and it wasn't for work, it ain't costing you that kind of money. You know good and well it's not. But here's something that I was trying to find, because I was done. So one of the girls are complaining because she said she's angry because she cannot wear her colorful shirts anymore, along with her 3 facial piercings. I'm going to tell you something. If you worked for me in the food industry and you had 3 facial piercings, you couldn't serve nothing for me. No, you either have to take them out or you find another job. But this is what's happening. Somebody is saying it looks so sad that everyone is wearing black. You don't go to work to entertain at Starbucks. You don't go to work. What do you mean sad? What do you mean sad? They're not coming there to look at you and be happy. They just give these people their coffee. That's it. You're not mandated to make me smile when I walk up in Starbucks. Just greet me well give me some clean drink or food, and give me my correct change, and get me up out of your store. That's the only thing you're required to do. I want to hear what the Due Time crew got to say about that one, because they didn't just annoyed my ever-loving nerve. As a matter of fact, because I got my new segment coming on, where my people at? Where my people at? Let me see. I got some straggling conversation going on here. So, okay. Oh, Shanti says all non-slips are not waterproof. Okay, I got you. So those, Anika says, so those clothing items are not. I don't understand. This is what I'm saying. If you were out there buying these clothes for yourself, they would be fine. These clothes would be fine. But now, because you got to wear for a uniform, you want reimbursement? I need to reimburse you for regular clothes? No, you playing yourself. You straight playing yourself. Where's my girl, Tamika? Let's say good morning.
Well, good
morning.
Happy Thursday to you. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. All right, girl. Let's get to talking about this uniform thing, because I'm lost. I'm lost as to what the problem is. So let's go over this again. Black shirt, as long as it covers the midriff, as long as it covers your armpits. You have the optional short or long sleeve. Let's talk about your pants. You can wear khakis, black pants, or your denim jeans, as long as they don't have a pattern on it, as long as they're not frayed, you good. On your feet, you can put on a pair of black, brown, tan, dark blue, gray, or white footgear. They didn't say whether it was shoes or sneakers, as long as it was waterproof. Why are we suing?
All right, so I'm tired. These little whiny babies about little things. You made a small transition to these outfits, so I guess this is out because you got to see my armpit. So you don't want to wear that, but that's common sense. You're in this food industry. Nobody wants to look at your armpits. Doesn't matter how shady they are. Doesn't matter how, nobody wants to see that. Crocs. Yeah, I know somebody's going to get at me because Serge and I have had this ongoing conversation about Crocs. I hate them things. I hate them with everything in me. I hate them things. These are ugly. But we think about it. You're dealing with, liquids. You could accidentally slip, and fall, and then my thing is, you're talking about these people complaining about, the slacks and footwear. My thing is, it's one thing if you're wearing, like I worked in a factory one time and you had to buy these particular types of shoes, for your safety. That's one thing. But you're talking about stuff that, you're not going to wear your fine clothes to this place. You're wearing slacks, you're wearing jeans. How much does jeans cost these days? They're not that much, and you're talking about sneakers, something that'll, keep you from slipping, and how much does that cost? Again, you're not going to wear, you're not going to buy, these name brand jeans. You're wearing some khakis, how much does khakis cost really? I think they're just trying to find a gripe, to complain and whine about because of a transition of, if you were going to a high price, if you're working in one of these high-end stores, Starbucks, you're just wearing, your regular slacks. Quit whining and go ahead and get what you need.
Girl, I read this last night. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. You're going to waste your time on a lawsuit for buying clothes you would normally buy. Right. The only thing you wouldn't buy are the khakis, and you might buy khakis. But everything else is something you would wear. You gotta Listen, ain't nobody in this world don't have a pair of black shoes, brown shoes, tinge, white sneakers. Are you serious? I was just so done. I
I
was
was
so
actually
done.
surprised that they wanted you to wear white because you know how many times you're going to spill something. Your white will not be white by the time you start there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now I got to get on you about your white because your white ain't white. Yeah,
Right.
I agree with you. Because I was surprised when I saw it because white is the last thing on the list. And I was kind of surprised when it got to the white. All right. And this chick that says, hey, I don't feel I should have to hear about. She wants to go back to the colorful shirts because they used to allow them to wear the colorful shirts and the 3 piercings in her face. Do you want somebody serving you anything that you're going to eat with 3 piercings in their face?
Listen, I went to a place that was selling home property, and I'm all I could do as I'm talking to him, I'm just looking at his face because he had something here, he had something here, he had, and you're serving me food?
No,
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. Well, Anika says she loves the matching headscarf.
Thank
Tanika.
you.
I was admiring it myself. I was like, wow, gee, we're matching. All right. Serge is saying, hey, Sue Crocs.
I'm
Oh,
good.
goodness gracious. Serge says, come on, Lady Tamika, let's Sue Crocs. And Anika says, they want reimbursement. Yep. Terrence says, give me my money. Terrence is over there leading the march for reimbursement. Where's our girl, Shantice?
Good morning.
And good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm okay. Thanks. I'm okay. Thanks. Yo, you coming from a person who's had to wear. Okay, so what was that? 7 crease day?
Yes.
Is this uniform a crazy mandate?
I wish they would first of all, it shouldn't have been having to switch back to anything or having to switch. This is why we will never rise as a people, because everything starts off so mediocre. And now when you try to get people to step their standards up, this is the type of ignorant fight that you get. I blame the powers that be. It's y'all fault for allowing them to even get started like this. I used to work at the Cheesecake Factory. This is why no matter where I applied, as soon as I put Cheesecake Factory on my application and they read it on my resume, I automatically got the job. Like Pastor Steph said, that if you go to Cheesecake Factory now, they're a lot more casual than they were when I worked there. Now they wear all black. They still have to wear the button-ups, but they don't have to wear a tie anymore. It could be 190 degrees outside. We had to wear all white with a tie. They allowed you to wear your long sleeve button up. You can roll it up to about your elbow if you did not have tattoos on your forearms. If you had tattoos on your forearms, guess what? Your forearms were sweating because you had to keep the button down all the way to your wrist, or by the cover up, which was stupid because you might as well just leave it to your wrist. But either way, your forearms had to be covered. 7 crease day was pretty much every day, but they just randomly chose which day they wanted to be mean, extra mean, and send you home if you didn't have 7 creases. So, meaning you had to have 1, 2 creases in your arms, on the front of your pants, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and on your apron, 1 crease going down the middle. That was 7 creases you had to have. We had pre-shift meetings. If before the shift started and they looked at your uniform and you did not have those 7 creases, you got sent home because there was always someone coming too sharp, meaning we would just randomly show up at the restaurant to see who was late or who would get sent home, and we got to take your shift. They used to hand the male servers razors and shaving cream. They had to go in the bathroom and shave if they wanted to keep their shift. You wasn't serving their guests with no 5 o'clock shadow. So if you got drunk the night before and you overslept and didn't have time to shave before you left the house, guess what? You got time now. And you went. If you didn't have your lighter, because we had to sing happy birthday, If you didn't have your lighter, that's part of your uniform. You got sent home. Any little thing would get your shift stripped from you. They don't have these standards anymore. That's why they got time to complain and talk about, I'm suing. I'm suing. I used to work at Applebee's. This girl showed up with pink box braids. You could tell she paid money and they took time to do these box braids, child. That she thought she was showing up and clocking in and was going to seat. The general manager walked up and said, oh, well, I hope you have fun at home because you're not working here today until you take them box braids out, and sent her home. I felt so bad because for someone who does hair, I'm like, all the time that was spent. You can't dye that hair, girl. You're gonna have to take them braids out. They were not playing. Now you can even go. Didn't we just talk about interviews? Now you have the opportunity to sit and even interview with tattoos on your face. What? I wish I would show up at a counter and you talking about, can I take your order? No, you can't. Not with that face. Absolutely not. No, you like ink on your face. You probably don't wash under your fingernails. I'm sorry. Call me crazy, but that's just where my mind goes. It's just way too much. It's why they even entertaining this is beyond me.
Yeah, it's unionized, and when you have unions, they do some crazy things.
Yes,
they do some crazy things, and they have this class action lawsuit for all of this kind of stuff. Now, here's the interesting part. Which one of you said dress to step? Oh, you did, Shanti. Step your game up. Step your game up to wearing jeans and khakis, black pants. Yo, and that's the crazy part, because it's really not something that this is everyday clothes they're allowing you to wear.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why when they try to go to the clubs, they get mad when they say no sneakers allowed. They probably do it now. I know back when I was clubbing, they didn't allow you to wear sneakers. And those rules seem real extreme, but it made you step your game up in life. There were men who did not know how to tie a tie until they started working at the Cheesecake Factory. I learned how to tie a tie because of working there. Now I'm a woman. I don't necessarily have to wear ties outside of working there. But even to now help my little brother, my husband, my cousin, somebody, like, you take these things with you. You learn how to present yourself. Men who didn't know what it was to wear slacks or even know how to iron slacks. But because you had to have those 7 creases, now you knew how to iron your slacks for when it was time to go out. This is why now you got 40, 50-year-old men who don't know how to dress because they weren't made to learn in other instances in their life. It's crazy.
Wow. Well, Terrence says, I quit 7 creases, going crazy. Wow. All right. Anika says that's a little extreme, but if that's their rules, then yes, that's their rules. A lot of people are going to get locked out of jobs. Face tattoos are more popular. Right. Go ahead, get your face tattooed. And like you said, there's less for you to be employed. Let's talk to our girl Vivian. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you. All right, Viv. They've mandated that they step their game up over at Starbucks. And the natives are complaining. What are we talking about?
Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me because I'm with Terrence. Give me my money. I must be the only one on here. Give me my money. If you are changing rules and I got to now go buy something in order to work here, give me my money.
Wow.
I had a job.
Wow.
Where they had their original like polo shirts, but now they wanted to change it to where we would have to wear some other type of shirts that they wanted us to buy with their logo on it. They said that they would give us 2 shirts for the week and the rest we would have to buy. That don't make sense to me. There's 5 days in a week. You could at least give us 5 shirts. You're changing it. You want us to wear your logo. So provide us at least enough shirts for the week. Why should I now? You're going to give me 2. I got to wear one on Monday. Tuesday, I got to wash that one. That's just a little too much for me. I think that they should reimburse For me, I don't wear jeans. I can't stand jeans. If you see me, I'm either in a dress or some sweatpants. So if you're requiring me to go out and buy jeans, then reimburse me. I ain't saying I'm spending $60 on some sneakers, but if I gotta go buy sneakers, give me my money. I'm sorry. And then they are employing these young people. So you're going to get people with 2 facial piercings. You're going to get people with tattoos all on the neck. You're going to get these kids because that's who you are employing. So you're going to deal with it. If you don't want these types of employees, then watch who you employ, watch who you hire. But because they're desperate, they're hiring all these young people who don't have nothing in their closets but crop tops and mini skirts. So they're going to have to buy these clothes. So reimburse them.
Now, I can see if I was asking you to go buy a suit. But these are things that people are wearing anyway. You're like me. I don't like jeans. I hate jeans. I never been a real jean person. However, these young people are wearing black pants. They are wearing jeans. And like I said, some people even have khakis. So your black, they didn't say jeans, black jeans, black jeans, jean khakis. They said khakis, black pants, jeans. You got that in your closet. I'm sorry. There's not one person that's walking out here that don't have that in their pocket. If you're in that age group, a black shirt. How much is a black shirt going to cost you? We're not talking about stepping your game up. That's why when Shanti even said it, I had to chuckle because you're talking about this is everyday stuff, things that these people actually have in their closet. But because you can run me my money, you know what I'm saying? So listen, if this was, and as a matter of fact, Vivian, they said they do give 2 shirts with the brand on it. But here's the thing. Unlike what you said they wanted y'all to wear the uniform shirt 5 days a week and they only provided you 2. That's not their mandate. They're mandating that you do wear the 2, they're giving you the shirts, but you don't have to wear that, let's say the other 3 days if you have a 5 day a week shift. That's not something that they're mandating. They're mandating that you just have a black shirt. All you have to do is make sure that your midriff is covered and your armpits are covered. You go buy that $2.99 in the store. So here's my thing. If y'all want to be reimbursed, then you come with a receipt and it has to be a minimum of X, Y, and Z amount of money.
That's what they should do.
You for, right. Mm-hmm. I'm not reimbursing you for a $3 shirt. Stop. So if you're gonna, but see, here's how they're doing it because the state mandates that they get reimbursed. So now the union's attorneys, they're going to play on that. But like, I didn't read in all of that, like there's like a minimum or a maximum. So this is why, you're going to go buy the $60, whatever. You ain't normally buy no $60 nothing. So they have the freedom of wearing any black shirt, long or short sleeve. So even if you're the type that gets hot, if you're the type that gets cold, it's on you to wear whichever you want to wear. So you're really not spending much money. Like I said, I can agree with all of you. If you want, you go for your reimbursement when you spent some money. These kids ain't spending no money. They ain't spending no money.
But I ain't never heard of getting reimbursed for a job uniform. I've never heard of that.
They do, yes, like security. Concierge, they can actually get money for cleaning. But see, you have to remember something. These are their uniforms every single
day. Right. I heard of well, maybe because it was termed differently. Like, okay, so let's say tax time. I can now come with my receipts. Almost like how they do for churches, for your tithes at times. Like you can go to the financial secretary at the church and get your statement as to how much you tithe, and then you can take that and apply it. So maybe because of the way it was termed. But as far as like, oh, wow, I'm just straight. And then again, in my head, security uniform and job is a little different than like a Starbucks or McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little I don't know. So maybe because of the way it was turned, it was just like, okay, sound a little crazy.
But again, you're talking about uniform. You're not, these are not uniforms.
Right, right.
A black shirt. It's khakis, jeans, and black pants. Yo, everybody, Vivian and I must be on the red side of life where we don't like jeans. But the average person likes jeans. You don't like jeans either, Tamika?
Nope.
All right. So we're in the minority. But the average person has a pair of jeans in their closet. And the best part about it is they have not said certain black this. As long as they don't have patterns, as long as come on, without patterns. Wait, we were in the discount store last week. And I said to Shantice, they got jeans in here. Not that I was going to buy it, buy them.
Almost Pastor Steph arrested.
But I was only joking. I was like, they got jeans in here. But do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's a discount store. And you could go buy your jeans in the discount store. Stop. It ain't no uniform. Cut it out. All right, we got some comments. Then we're going to bring on the employer of the year, Pastor KL. All right. You know what? Terrence, he's a mess. All right, hold on. I gotta go back.
Where's his employer? So I could call them and let them know how he really be walking around here representing.
All righty. Terrence says, that's right, V. And Anika says, that's a little different to me as they have a specific type of shirt or pants, which may cost more than the basic. Me and V going to get rich. Go ahead, Vivian. You and Terrence going to get rich. Cut jeans got rips in them. And Sharon says, listen, I'll buy the most expensive outfit and have them reimburse me for it. That's what they doing, Serge. You're doing exactly what they doing. That's what they doing. They ain't buying no $60.
Just ignorant.
And Terrence says they only reimburse you for the uniforms you buy outside the ones they give you. Yes, but the crazy part is, I'm sorry, the ones they give you, that money comes out of your check because you have to pay for those, okay, that they give you. Absolutely. Let's get the employee of the year on the line. Where's Pastor KL? Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you? I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. All right. So what's
about to fire me a few folks.
What say you about this uniform? Is it extreme? Is it something reasonable? What's your thought? The fact that they can now sue to be reimbursed.
Well, I think uniforms is reasonable. The fact that you can sue, I think it's crazy. You want the job. I'm paying you for a service. If you go on a construction site, there's tools you need to have in order to do the job. Now, when you go to any job, whether it's a store, whether it's a restaurant, I say this all the time, you are the face of the brand. I can't have you looking crazy representing me. You're the face of the brand. And if this is how the brand wants to be portrayed, then this is what you have to do in order to stay employed. Now, at my job, I'm a little different. I say one of my biggest stories is when you're on time, you're late. So if I tell Shantice she needs to be to work at 11 o'clock, that's on her schedule, and you show up at 11 o'clock, you going home.
Wow.
Because by the time you push in, by the time you put your bag back, by the time you get your register, by the time you get your stuff together for my customers, you're late. So yeah, I mean, as far as that hair thing, no, we're not wearing the leading rainbow in my store.
Well, I can't wear this to work.
Huh?
I can't wear this to work. My arm is out, and I got colorful shirt.
You can't even do the Erykah Badu in my store. unless it's a religious thing, You can't wear that on your head. Just can't.
Okay.
Next, it'll be the bonnets.
Oh Lord Jesus! Right. If you let that go, the bonnets are coming.
You're right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I told y'all. Listen.
Take a mile.
I interviewed a guy. He was a great interview. The next day, he showed up in a dress and a wig. I'm sorry. That's not who I interviewed. I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
That's not who I sat down and talked to.
It's very true. It's very true. That was false. That was a false presentation.
Right.
It was false presentation. You didn't have to accept that. It was a false presentation. You came in here and you presented yourself one way, and now you're back to actually start work and you're presenting yourself in another manner. No. And you had every right to say no. And I think that's what a lot of people are not understanding. You don't have to take the job.
Right.
These things are optional. And that's why I'm like so annoyed with this. Well, you can be reimbursed for regular everyday clothes. This is not a uniform.
But you know what's going to happen, Pastor Steph? Is these folks are going to get reimbursed for all the wonderful things they couldn't afford in the first place, and then quit.
Yeah.
And then quit.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to stay. You're kissing their behind at this point.
Right.
And my thing, you're uniformly dressed. There's a difference. Uniform and uniformly dressed there's a difference there. And this is not uniform. This is not a uniform. It's not a uniform when you have an array of options. They've given you 6 options for your feet. They've given you 4 options for your pants or bottoms. They've given you options for your top. That's not a uniform. A uniform is when everyone looks exactly the same. When you have to wear this thing, that's when it's a uniform. But other than that, no. But Shantice asked the question, where do you give me in California? As an HR manager, California and Massachusetts have their rules are the most lenient that you have ever seen. When I tell you, if you blow hard, there's a rule. If you sneeze, there's a rule. If you stub your toe, there's a rule. They are the most lenient states, and everything starts with those 2 states. Everything starts with those 2 states. So I'm not surprised that it's in California. So speaking of, I didn't know that this would, kind of slide into this. Years ago, I did tacky or tasteful. So I got some situations where you can say it's either tacky or it's tasteful, or it would be tacky or it would be tasteful. All right. 32 years ago, I was seeing 2 different men. I slept with each of them in the same week and became pregnant. I told them midway through the pregnancy that the baby might be theirs. One ditched me. I never heard from him again. The other is my husband of 31 years. We went on to have 2 more terrific children. I have suspected all along that my oldest son, Todd, wasn't my husband's biological child. When Todd was 8, we did a DNA test and I was right. Todd was recently married. I asked him several times before the wedding to tell his future wife his birth story. Todd was adamant in his refusal. He has no interest in meeting his biological father or having a relationship with him. My husband is his dad, period. I feel guilty for not sharing this with Todd's wife when she asks questions. She knows Todd was born before we were married. Todd says it's his decision and it's not a big deal. However, I want to tell. If I do, I risk upsetting my son and maybe their marriage. They will have kids in the future, and I think she should know. What do you think I should do? Tacky or tasteful, Tamika?
Just being tacky. Just outright. You were tacky to begin with, you know, and you're still tacky. What is tasteful about that? Like you decided to sleep with two men in the same week, found out that this baby is not, you know, your husband's child, and now as he's moving on in his life, he's progressing. He decided to do whatever he wanted. Why can't you just stay in line with him? You want to go overboard. You are tacky.
All righty, to me, Shantice, tacky or tasteful?
That is beyond tacky. Why I want my wife to know you was a hoe?
Oh my goodness!
Why? Why? This ain't gonna get you into heaven? That you got now? Everybody got to know your story. That's your story. My story, I'm choosing to keep under wraps for whatever the listen. How do you know that by me not divulging this is helping me to stay out of jail or a mental house? Because I just don't really want to put my head to the fact that once upon a time, my mother was busting it open for everybody, and she was
really.
I'm sorry.
You hanging out with KL and Pastor Jeff? Really?
Just why are you now trying to overstep your boundaries?
Oh my God!
By wanting to tell his wife.
Oh my!
What does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with you? How do you know that he just wants to be fine with being content with knowing that was his father? Leave it alone. That's beyond tacky. I'm sorry.
Tacky or tasteful was tacky with what you just said.
I already said I'm sorry, but that makes no sense. You don't have to share somebody else's story to make yourself feel better.
Vivian.
It's tacky. I don't understand why she's so adamant on telling the wife. What is that going to serve? How is it going to help the marriage? Like, what's the big deal? Why? First of all, why would you wait till he was 8 for you to get the DNA test to find out that the father he's known all this time is not his biological father? That should have been done way before. I mean, they got technology now where she could have found out when she was still pregnant who the actual father was. So I just don't understand why she's so adamant on telling the wife that his father, that he wants to claim as his father, is not his biological father, and share with the wife that she was fast and loose when she was younger. I don't see the point. Very tacky. And for her to even be writing this out, asking for advice, is even more tackier. It's really not that big of a deal.
All righty. Pastor KL.
I can't breathe. Hold on. Okay. All right. I think it's beyond tacky. I think it's trifling. I'm with Vivian. You know, why is it that you waited till the child was 8 years old in football, you know, with his own mind, to come out and want to have this conversation? I think it was trifling and tacky. Well, no, I think it was a stand up that the husband is still around, because I'd have been gone. So you had an affair with someone and your husband. It wasn't like it was just two guys that you just had a fling with. You know, you put your husband in all of this. No, and now you want to be.
Wait, it wasn't a husband. They were just two men she was seeing.
It's still tacky. Still trifling. Still trifling. Yeah. I mean, anytime you don't know, you know, you are not the father. You know, anytime you got to go to Maury, that's tacky. You know what I mean? That's definitely trifling. You know, and now you want to be the poster board. You know, your son said he don't want to know who his father is. He okay. He grew up a good life with the one that you said was his father in the beginning. No, why are we disturbing all this stuff and he's grown?
Right.
And now you want to bring it to him and his children. Well, grandpa really not your grandpa. There's another grandpa that we don't know who grandpa is. No, come on, give me a break. Just confusing the issue because now you're guilty.
All right. We got some comments going on in here. You see how infectious you become, Pastor Gail? This your fault.
Oh, my fault. I ain't saying nothing. But I know we related now. I don't need a DNA.
Okay, Terrence says she was listening to the R. Kelly and Usher song. I hate Terrence. You can tell when Terrence ain't busy working. You can tell. He said she was listening to the R. Kelly and Usher song, Some Girl, when it was really two guys. And Anika, you cannot laugh at Shantice. There's nothing funny about that. In any event, all right. Tacky or tasteful. I am in my early 30s and dealing with an illness that can kill me. I'm okay with dying, and I don't want any treatment. I just want to go. I have been dealing with suicidal thoughts, depression, and self-harm since the age of 13. The problem is my children, husband, and close family members. I don't want to tell anyone about this, and I do not want sympathy. I don't want to leave my children and husband, but I don't want them to see me get sick or die. I do not want them to cry. I prefer to deal with this on my own. Who knows? I might make it. Should I tell them what's going on or leave them hanging? Tacky or tasteful, Shantice?
Tacky. How did you make it to be able to have a family like that if you were depressed and suicidal since 13? To where no one possibly didn't understand how severe it is, to now you have this terminal illness and you don't want to try to do anything to get yourself better because you're ready to go. So you've always been ready to go. So you've cheated your husband and your kids out before you even got started with them. And now, God forbid, if God chooses not to prolong your life past this and you end up passing away, now your kids don't know anything. Don't even know that you were sick. That is one of the most selfish things to do. That is tacky.
All righty. Vivian.
That's tacky. Because she said, who knows, I might make it. But if you don't make it, now your family not only has to mourn your death, but finding out, your reasoning for passing, they never knew. There's could be some guilt there. Like, how did we not know? Like, it's just too much that you're leaving them to have to contend with if you don't make it. And then you could be getting help from your family if you tell them. So why would you want to suffer all of this alone? It's very tacky. I mean, you might think it's honorable. I don't want to worry them. I don't want them to be, hurt. But it's going to happen eventually. So why go through it alone? That's very tacky.
All righty. Pastor KL.
It's tacky. It's tacky and it's selfish at the same time. You state that you don't want them to worry, and all this other stuff. Now, if your children, or even if your husband, if they're really in tune with their mama or their wife, they're going to see the decline. So if you're that sick, they're going to see a decline, and they're going to wonder what's going on. So once they start seeing the decline, are you going to ignore it and just fade off in the night? I think that's kind of tacky. And as it was said, if you tell us it early, we can probably get help. How about if you tell us early, we can pray? How about that? How about the family can rally and pray for you? You just gave up the ghost. That's ridiculous.
All righty. Tamika, tacky or tasteful?
I think it's tacky, and I know a lot of people that have been hurt by situations like that, where an individual decides that they're not going to tell anybody, and they expire, and the level of hurt that's left, the residual, all this time you knew, and you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me your best friend. You didn't tell me your sibling. You didn't tell me your spouse. These are things that even if I didn't tell anybody else, my spouse, and my children, if I didn't tell my best friend, or if but my thing is the level and the degree of hurt that gets found out afterwards, you can't replace, and because you're gone, and I think that is a selfish part. I understand that you want to spare me pain, but maybe I want to spend more time with you, and you cut me short because I didn't know that you were ill. I could have spent more time. We could, I would have rearranged my schedule. You shorted me. You didn't allow me to do that. And then there's residual pain that I can't take away because you shorted me of that.
All righty. Terrence says, I don't know if this one is tacky. It's hard with this one because we don't know what the kids are going through, and she doesn't want to put too much pressure on them as well. It's hard. It's a hard decision on this one. And people don't like telling family things like that because they don't want to feel the guilt, or they don't want people to keep feeling sorry for them. That's another reason as well. It's kind of touching on what Tamika just got finished saying. All righty. Tacky or tasteful? I'm in my early 30s and dealing with, oh no, I'm sorry. Wrong one. Hold on. I'm sorry. That one. I have a friend, Doug, I've known for 30 years. I moved away, but we get together once or twice a year. I've known his wife longer than him and watched their son grow up, attending his sports activities when visiting and contributing to school fundraising activities. He's a good kid. I've recently heard rumors that Doug has made inappropriate advances toward and touched women within our circle of friends. It occurred once when I was there. Sadly, there's been more than one accusation. I do not distrust those rumors. While I didn't witness it, the behavior following the event makes sense to me now. I'm sad, disappointed, and a little angry. I've distanced myself from Doug because one of the victims is also a close friend. I feel guilty for maintaining a relationship with him as if nothing has occurred. I'm continually asked by Doug's wife and son when I'm going to visit again. Now that I'm semi-retired, I'm out of excuses. I can't just go off the grid, and clearly don't want to be one to destroy the family. I also don't want to dishonor the victim by behaving as if nothing has happened. Is there a way out of this? Tacky or tasteful? Vivian.
I say tacky. If I don't know, it's kind of hard, but I'm gonna go with tacky because instead of you just saying what needs to be said, you're distancing yourself, and it's very noticeable. Now you're putting yourself in a position to where you gotta lie and cover things up. Just deal with it. Whatever comes from it. I just say deal with it. And because you're not, I think it's tacky.
All righty. Pastor KL.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's tacky. You start off by saying that she was the wife's friend first. So technically your allegiance is to the wife. You know what I mean? I think, it should be said. She should know. You know what I mean? I mean, where it goes from there is on you, but your job is to say something. See something, say something. Before it gets worse. So yeah, I think by not saying something is tacky.
All righty. Tamika.
I stand on tacky because my thing is now you're distancing yourself from your whole circle of friends. I didn't do anything wrong. You did. And so I'm not gonna, move myself from the circle, yeah, you didn't see it, but my thing is you're seeing signs of it. A lot of times it could be shown, his body language towards such and such in this circle of friends, and you not saying anything or even alluding to it, who are you allegiant to? It seems like to me, if the wife was your friend first, how is it that you have allegiance to the husband who's doing the wrong thing? Tacky.
Okay. Shantice.
It was tasteful until you decided to now just be out of sight, out of mind, so that you wouldn't have to say what needs to be said. Because if it's a situation where it's like, okay, I don't know, I'm only knowing what's being told to me, and I may just want to hold off of saying anything for right now until X, Y, and Z, whatever. But now it's gotten to where obviously you're believing this because it's like, well, I don't want to be around. So that way I don't have to say this to this one. I don't have to adjust that one, but then I don't have to be held liable on this end. But that's not the way that you handle something like that. You can't, when you see to where now you have to remove yourself, but that's going to now create another leg to the problem. That's when it becomes tacky.
Okay. Terrence says, V, you're right. Tacky because she wants to be touched. That's why she's not saying anything. You have to give Terrence something to do today. It's in straight, rare form today. Oh my goodness gracious. All righty. We got one more. All righty. Hold on. All right. I'm a retired Marine who married my supervisor's daughter. I call her Zoe. He and I were good friends. Zoe and I divorced in 1997. During the marriage, I found out that he was not her real father. It was a family secret that accidentally got out. Zoe and I had a daughter, Elle. When I discovered when she was 13 that she wasn't mine, I was furious. I eventually accepted Elle as my own because I was the only father she had ever known, and it wouldn't change anything. Now, years later, I've remarried and raised 2 stepsons as my own. Elle has 3 kids. Sometimes I want to tell her the truth, and other times I just want to leave all this alone. Tacky or tasteful, Pastor KL?
I'm torn with that. I think it's noble that he's done what he's done and he's raised the child as his own. But you never know. Sometimes children can feel that there's a disconnect, and she might have been dealing with this all her life and never said anything. And this can actually cause closure. If you did say, listen, I still love you in spite of what's going on, but I'm really not your daddy. And if you need help finding your father, so can you closure, then we can do that. So I think, he should be able to say it like that.
All righty. All right. Tamika.
I'm standing on tacky. And the reason why is I know what that feels like. I know the residuals of, trying to do the research, and, it opens up a lot of, like, it's a can of worms, and so the emotion of, you can't hear me?
We can hear you.
She did like this.
I can hear now.
Okay. So the residual
Yes.
Emotions and feelings for the child who now has to research, also the ideal or the feeling of betrayal. You didn't tell me. Why all these years? I could have found out earlier. Especially if you've got a situation where the real father is no longer, existing. There's all that different load of concerns now. It's kind of like you took all of that and laid it on the child who's now an adult. with children of her own. It's a lot. I stand on tacky.
Okay. Vivian. I'm sorry, Shantice.
I would lean a little more to tasteful, only mainly too because he just watched his wife go through this, and it could be going through his head, like for whatever reasons, they didn't express to her at whatever age or until whatever age that wasn't her father. And yeah, now I'm in this situation, and as much as I may want to throw a chair or, get mad and do some other thing and trying to hold my composure and just make sure I'm, there. There's certain times where letting the child know will be a lot more harmful than beneficial. Even with both parents, wanting to do the admirable thing, the noble thing. Sometimes it's better just leave well enough alone. But if now it's really starting to mess with you where you can't mentally and emotionally function properly, then that's another thing. But I would say I'm leaning a little more to tasteful with this one.
All righty. And Vivian.
Where's the mom? I missed that. What happened to the mother?
Nothing. What you mean? With the first round or the second round?
No, this last story.
No, there's two phases of the story that the person gave. Hold on. They divorced. They divorced.
I'm leaning more towards tasteful also, because if he were to go and say something and it's gonna cause problems, then I wouldn't stir that pot. If the reason I asked about the mom, because if you're gonna say something and she doesn't agree, then you're definitely gonna cause problems. So if there was some kind of agreement between them that said we're not gonna tell her ever, or we're not going to tell her until she's this age, or whatever the case is, and you go against that just because it's heavy on your heart, then that's selfish. So I'm leaning more towards tasteful, because you might be causing problems where there doesn't need to be problems just yet. But if he's the only one with this news, like he's the only way that she will be able to find out, and you're withholding this from her, then it's tacky. So to me, it depends on if there was any type of agreement.
All righty. Oh, any words of advice for, we're talking about very realistic situations from a Christian perspective. And we don't know whether these people are Christian or not. But the fact that nobody's mentioned God in any of these things would make me lean toward the fact that they're not thinking on a godly level. Pastor K.O. said something about prayer. I was like, anybody think about no prayer? What would you give as a word of advice, period? We ended up with tacky things, the way people handled it. What would be your word of advice, Tamika?
We have a responsibility to our friends, our family, our neighbors, the world. And a lot of times people just do things and then they kind of wing it, there's that emoji that does this all the time, and a lot of times with life, people do the same thing. I did it, and, when you decide to divulge information or speak to someone regarding, you have to seek God. Because you don't know what your one move, how it can affect someone else 70 different ways. And so it is important that you understand that you're not an entity by yourself, and just because you made a move, that's it. Understand that when you open up your mouth, especially when we're talking about, we already had two situations where after a certain period of time, people decided to either have this come to Jesus moment and spill it all out, or maintain and not say anything at all. Seek God in all of your ways, and he will give you the right directive and tell you what to do.
All righty. Shantice.
Yes, you don't have to overstep your boundaries to make yourself feel better. Stay in your place, know your lane, understand what you need to do and what you don't need to do, and be content with that. That way, you will not contribute in furthering any issues, or you could be part of the solution and not part of the problem. You could be more on the tasteful end and less on the tacky end.
All righty. Vivian.
I agree with Lady Tamika, because a lot of these situations, and Shantice, because a lot of these situations, people are thinking very selfishly. So my advice is to just think of the bigger picture from the beginning and how this would affect all parties involved, and just make sure that you're on the right side of it all. And sometimes it's not, sometimes it's not about you. So because it will make you feel better, doesn't mean that it needs to be done. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you're thinking of the bigger picture and how it's going to affect everybody involved, and not just thinking about yourself.
All righty. Some good stuff coming through. Pastor KL, how we closing this down as a word to our viewers?
My ladies, they've said a lot. They did a wonderful job. But your foundation got to be God. Before you have babies, before you get married, before you do all this stuff, you got to know God. Because if you know God, you'll have clear directions. If you know God, first of all, you won't cheat. You won't have an outside affair. If you know God. Except the Lord builds a house, we labor in vain. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. All other grounds are sinking sand. You got to know who God is and let God direct your path. Remember, anything built on a lie has to crumble. It will crumble. So when you start talking about, well, we're not going to tell the child, that's a lie. When you go outside your marriage, that's a lie. No matter how well you try to cover it up, eventually it's going to come back to you. Anything built on a lie has to crumble.
All righty. Good stuff. My due time crew, thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. Have a good day,
God
everyone.
bless you.
Ooh, tacky or tasteful. All right. Let me weigh in here. So we have the first situation where we had the woman who 32 years ago slept with two men on the same, at the same time. And she said in the same week. She ended up being pregnant, so therefore it was kind of difficult to determine who this father was. Well, she wanted to do the noble thing and tell the tell the men, and one said, I'm out. Who knows why? Maybe he thought he was the only one. The second one said, okay, I could live with it. And they got married. Here we are, 31 years later. They have two additional children. And after he was 8, the little boy was 8, they had the DNA test, finding out that he was not the father. That's the first problem, as was brought up. You had a suspicion. Both of you knew from very early that this was possibly not his father. And why you waited until 8 years to divulge this information is beyond me. You could have definitely done this, Now, the second issue, you want to tell the wife. Why? Why is this your business? You have not brought up a valid reason for why you feel the need to tell this story. You clearing your conscience. What's happening here that you need to tell? Why is this aching you so much that she needs to know? This has nothing to do with you. There's nothing to do with you. You raised the issue, which was an important one to your son, and now he's spoken it. Then unfortunately, your hands are tied. Call it a day and move on. It is very, very tacky for you to insert yourself and want to get involved with this situation. Move on about your business and call it a day. All right. We have another situation where there's a similar, he, at the end of the day, he has a daughter who is not his. And he wants, he's trying to decide whether he should tell her or not. I say tell her. Why? Because this girl has children, or she will have children. Now, I don't think a lot of us understand lineage. When you go to the doctor, one of the first things they ask you is your family history. Can she honestly give family history biologically when you're not the father? And she needs to know this. Now, this is why I say the first situation was more on the selfish side, because mom never said, listen, there's a possibility that you can't answer because the man who walked off is really your father. And we don't know anything about him medically. And if you and Mary have children, there will be unanswered questions in regards to this health situation. So, hey, don't get yourself involved, if you don't have a justified reason. But definitely, if you have a bona fide reason, talk. And that's why I said it was tacky, because she did not raise the proper reason. Now, this man wants to tell. Now, if mom has missed the responsibility of telling this piece of information, then let mom live with that. But I'm going to mom and I'm letting mom know, hey, this is on my mind. This is beating me down, because I understand that there are repercussions behind this. Now, if mom decides that she doesn't want to do anything, then listen, I'm going for this, because I think she needs to know. I don't think she needs to be looking at me as her father, and God forbid anything happens to her or the children, and now she's coming to me for blood, or she's coming to me for answers, and now I can't give her that information. We have a responsibility. We have this other situation where there's a friend where she initially says her and the the woman, they're friends first, and now for some reason she's protecting the male, the husband, who was the second friend. Now, some people say mind your business, because hey, sometimes you go and tell these things and you end up making enemies, and it's very true. We've seen it happen many, many times. However, now you're in another zone, because now you're a family friend. And like, I think it was Vivian who said, noticeably, you're not around anymore. So now you're going to disappear and nobody knows? Nah. Listen, I'd have to tell and let the chips fall where they may and call it a day. And you know what? If that ain't, if that wasn't the best recourse, then I guess we weren't friends to begin with. You have to trust my judgment here. I'm not telling you because I want to hurt you. I'm telling you because not telling you can hurt you. You have this other situation where this woman she says she's dying. And she's okay with dying, and she's just ready to go. Let me say this to you. You have a husband and children. It's not about you. No, this cannot be, I don't want to hurt them. This cannot be about, I don't want to put them through anything. Imagine how they would feel if, and this is what was said by the panel. Imagine how they would feel if now you're in hospice care. These are the last few minutes you got. We just got finished hearing of someone who was given a few months and they didn't even make it to 3 months. A month in, month and a half in. It's now much worse. So whatever news you got, you owe it to your children and your husband to give them a proper chance to say goodbye. How selfish is that of you? Because you're ready to die, because you've been suicidal since you were 13 and depressed. This is why people don't need to be getting married. Because look at the toxic mindset. So how do you leave your children? I don't know the ages of her children because she doesn't say. But whether these children are younger or older, it doesn't matter. Her husband. And like Pastor KL said, after a while, they're going to start noticing that you're getting sicker. So now you're at stage 1 cancer. You've decided that you're not going to get any treatment. So now what do they find? Stage 4, when it's terminal and there's nothing that can be done. And now they're trying to think of all the things that Mom, we can do holistic. Mom, we can do this. Or babe, we can do that. No, it's not about you. And when you get to a point when you're married and you feel it's about you, then you have lost sight of what marriage is all about. You can't protect your family by lying to them. A lie is a lie. And Pastor KL mentioned this, dishonesty will never breed anything but hurt. And imagine when this is over with, if you should perish from this illness, imagine the hurt and the deceit that they are going to feel when you walked around this house a whole year, 7, 8, 9 months, 6 weeks, knowing that you were going and you didn't say a word. No. If we believe that lying is the way to go because lying protects people, then you'll lie about anything. What else in your life is a lie? Why am I saying this? Because yet again, the Bible speaks of this. An unstable man is unstable in all his ways. Sometimes, we find a hard time to accept this. Oh, what does one thing have to do with the other? It has everything to do with the other. Because I could never imagine calling myself loving my family, but lying to them. And that's what we're talking about here. It's almost like every one of these situations was based on a lie. The woman with 2 fathers could be, and now you didn't tell anybody, and now y'all sitting on this information. A lie. The Marine, and now he's trying to figure out whether he should tell the daughter. A lie. The one with the friend. A lie. The family where I don't want to tell because I'm ready to go. I don't want no treatment. A lie. Listen. No. Love is not lying. Lying is not love. No matter how we shape and craft this thing. How many men say, I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt you? Well, she's hurt anyway. A lot of times people just want to know. Now, will it mean that I won't be hurt if you tell me? Absolutely not. But it does mean that I know, and I have the ability to make my decision based on the information that I have been given. You cannot hold my fate in your hands. Period. How is it that we allow children to believe that their parents are their parents when they're really not? How do we live with this? I'm looking at you every day. I'm raising you. I've raised you. And I haven't told you that this is not your mother, this is not your father. What kind of mess is this? How do we in our right conscience go to bed at night knowing that God forbid anything can happen. Somebody wrote in one of the things, oh, a family secret got out. Because it ain't a secret if somebody knows about it. Ain't no secret no more. And as long as it's a secret, it's always a possibility. There's always a possibility that it will come out. Tacky, 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 and tacky. Again, we're taking real life situations. Are you in one of these situations? Are you conceptually in one of these situations? We talked yesterday. I closed yesterday with responsibility. What is our responsibility being here on earth? We have a responsibility to one another. We are to care for one another. And caring for one another means outdoing one another with love. That's what the Word of God tells us. And we cannot outdo one another in love when we are lying and hiding. The thing that is killing me, I'm looking at you. That's the part that's just, it is just weighing me down. It's not like I didn't move to Siberia. You here in the United States, we're not talking. And oh well, we got separated before I could say, I can't write no letter. I can't send 2 cans in a string. I can't send a kite. I can't do nothing. But these people are looking. You're looking at one another each and every day. And that's love? No. Go find love in the Word of God. That will definitely give you the definition of love. Love means I don't hurt you. Love means I have to be honest and open. It's just not the way to live. So let's make sure we get this thing done properly. We don't want to live tacky lives as people of God. We need to do the noble and the right thing. And I always say to you, is there something going on in you? And see, this is why this came up. Because there's something going on that you're battling. Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? Would it's for the non-believer, tacky is the way to go. Because there are no morals a lot of times. Or let me put it this way, God's morals are not in place. So the things that we think is right is not necessarily right. Tamika said it best. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Seek God for everything, every decision we have to make. Make sure we go to God and ask God, is there something that I need to be doing? Is there something that I feel like I need to handle this like this, but you know what? I may not have the best resolve. I may not have the best answer. I may not be doing this right, but I need to know that whatever move I make, that I am right. My grandmother used to always say, no matter what happens, make sure you're right. I don't care what happens, make sure you're right. Because at the end of the day, we have to do what's pleasing to God. There are things that we must say, as a pastor, I at times I battle because I say to God, I'm like, I don't even want to say this because people think they right. People that stood on their ground of, what they want to do. And you've been there with them already. So I'm like, you know what? I done been there with you 9-10 times already. You go ahead. You just let the chips fall where they may. And the Lord is behind me. Say this, this, and this. And I'm like, why? Why? Why am I battling with people for their lives? Why? You want to fall in a ditch? You want to get hurt? You want to work your way out of this? Then it's on them. And the Lord says that's because that's what I've given you to do. There's a scripture that says when God tells us to tell someone and we tell them and they don't follow, it's on them. But when God gives you something to tell and you don't tell and they make the mistake, it's on you. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I got enough to handle in Stephanie's world. I don't have to, listen, I don't need to be walking in my own stuff and walking in your stuff because you done messed up. But take what God gives you. Take what God gives you. And clearly, like I said earlier, it doesn't sound like any of these situations God was involved. Because if God was involved, then you would kind of know what to do. Because God would direct you as to what to do. Not because you would know it on your own, but because God would tell you what to do. I am listening to the things that people are doing. And I don't think I've ever in my life found so much double talk in my life. I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. I know what I'm doing don't make sense, but I'm going to do it anyway. I know what I'm doing is really twisted, and I can't even figure out why I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And none of those times are people saying, I'm seeking God, and God has given a definitive answer. Everybody is going with feeling and what they think. And we can't afford to go with feeling or what we think. We can't. Because again, lean out to your own understanding. We're fallible. Fallible in our thoughts, fallible in existence. Fallible. And we are prone to act on feelings, our own flesh and spirit. A lot of times you really got to check yourself to make sure there's nothing in it for you. Why am I doing this thing? Is it something in it for me, or am I really fully doing this because this is what God has given me to do? Am I really doing this? Am I fulfilling this because God has instructed me to do so? 9 out of 10 movements is all emotional. All connections, unhealthy connections. And I have to hear one more time, well, I'm going to vote this way because that's what I went through. So why did God allow you to go through that without destroying you? He allowed you to go through that. He brought you through that. So on the other side of that, we can connect it to making better decisions. We don't lean on it because it happened. Well, I got beat up by a cop. So, if the cops get beat up, then oh well, because I know how it feels to get beat up by a cop. No, that's not why God brought you through. So that's the kind of advice you give, or you don't have a better understanding or a better thought. No, these are all the things that God has allowed us to go through. He's brought us through these things so that we can say something very different than those who have never experienced. I know what it is to be beat up by the cops. And I know it can be a very unjust, hateful, spiteful, nasty, evil thing. However, now that God has dealt with me and God has changed my life, that used to be the old way I was thinking. Yeah, get them back. If it happens, I'm turning my head. I ain't paying no attention. But now that God has shown me, this is what I have to offer. So we want to make sure that the things that we do, we don't act in a tacky manner. When I've read all of these scenarios, I could envision 9 other areas conceptually that people could be going through. Are people in these challenges? Have we just helped 10 people just by helping you understand that tacky is not the way to go when it comes to God? In decency and in order. Everything should be done tastefully. Will it not hurt is the question. But just because we've done it tastefully does not mean it's not going to hurt. No. And that's what a lot of people are afraid of. Well, if I do it, regardless of how I say it, it's going to hurt and I don't want to hurt people. You know what? If it's what God wants you to do, then if hurt is there, then they have to go through that. Listen, such is life. A lot of times, if we were to make better decisions, we wouldn't be so hurt. And other times, we're going to have to feel the hurt to understand how to put things in its proper perspective. So we don't want to be like these people here who are running, who are hiding. God's people don't hide. God's people don't run. God's people stand up. And they stand and they know that God is standing with them. That the Lord will fight my battle. That he is before me in this situation. Yeah. Stop making decisions based on what you want. And we will find that we will make God happy. That's the lesson for today. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go about your day, stick to things that are above, not on the earth, because they will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later may not be here. It is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Freestyle Friday and we get to do whatever it is we want to do. Talk to men is what we do. Until then, I love you.